So being in total alignment when we're talking mind, body, and spirit can definitely have a connection to your glow up season as well. Because obviously we're talking about having a true glow up, okay? Glowing up stretches far beyond just a trip to the beauty salon to get that lace front wig installed. Y'all already know how it is. Get the lash extensions, get your nails, the pedi, go shopping, get that cute outfit. We're talking much more than just a 24-hour physical glow up. Anybody can do that. When it comes to anything about a leveling up season or having the reinvention, you have to go through a little bit of a time delay. Everything is not going to happen right off the bat, okay? And so what we want to discuss today is how do we beat that stagnancy? How do we stay within that time delay so that we can propel forward to actually have the glow up down the line? So, y'all already know what it is. Welcome back to the 59 Parlor Podcast. I am your host, Tony Ray, and I'm going to let y'all know I'm still coughing. In the last week's episode, I already told you guys I had the flu like over a week and a half ago now, and I am still coughing. So I've got my tea ready to go because I'm already telling y'all it's just rough out here for the kid, okay? It's rough out here. But anyway, first thing I want to point out, and y'all already know, I got my notes right here because we're going to stay on time, okay? We're going to stay on time. We've all created the vision board. Vision board is the thing that we put our most desired items on it, right? We want that new car. We want that luxury residence, whether it's a new house or an apartment, townhome, whatever your style is. You have that on there. You have those destinations on there, those exotic trips that you've been looking forward to so you can pull the bikinis out and go on a beach and lie somewhere and get all tan. Yeah, we're talking about all of those. I do love the vision board because it does help us focus hard on those items, on those, manifestations that we want. And it makes us focus on them so that we can actually bring them into fruition. But sometimes there is a longer time delay from that time where you're first making that initial glow up vision board to the time that you get to the end of it. You don't know what that gap of time is going to be. You don't know whether it's going to take 2 months, 6 months, a year, it could be 2 years. You don't know. All that you know is that you want to start it and that you're going to go through the process, okay? When I originally began my the Tonirayway channel, of course you all already know that I have 2 different channels. When I started that first YouTube channel, I would have never imagined, never in a million years, imagine that I would be at 391 video uploads and still not have had my viral moment. If I'm being truthfully with you guys, this was my exit plan. Let's be honest, y'all not gonna sit out here and act like YouTubers ain't making the big dollars, okay? We already know that YouTubers and content creators is out here getting paid. So that's why it was on my vision board, because I'm like, I can do all that. I can have that blow up moment. So I put everything about, oh my God, I just burped. Oh, that was so unladylike, and that was so, I didn't even know that was gonna come up. I'm sorry. Anyway, I heavily relied on my YouTube channel to blow up so that I could have my glow up moment. I was like, if I rely on that, then my glow up can happen and I can buy this and I can buy that and I can do all of these things. And that was actually that was the worst way that I could have went about it. The first year, it's like, okay, it's fine. I'm still having to put a little bit of work in, but by year 2, which actually I'll be at my 2 years here soon, so maybe like around that year and a half mark, I started to realize that I had like this cloud that just seemed like it was beginning to follow me around, like this huge stagnancy cloud that I felt like was just not shaking me. And it's hard when you fall into that stagnancy mindset because you're like, let me put it like this. You start questioning a lot of the stuff that you're doing, okay? A lot of us are in the same boat. I'm sure that you guys have invested a lot of your time into yourself, into businesses, into building brands. We are all there. We all know that feeling of trying to invest so hard and feel like you're getting absolutely nowhere. The problem about this, though, you guys, is that once that dark cloud starts to surround you and that stagnancy starts to really, really settle in, it can really affect your thoughts. That's why you start thinking the way that you do and feeling, oh, okay, am I good enough? Am I doing this wrong? Am I doing that? It's not that you're actually having those thoughts, it's that the stagnancy that you're experiencing, that time delay, is beginning to infect your thoughts about yourself. A lot of the times we start even taking away the credit from ourselves on the things that we have accomplished. Just because you might not have had that big experience yet or that big blow up moment doesn't mean that you can't give yourself credit for the things that you have done. So you start to give yourself that credit for the things that you have done, but then what happens is a lot of that is beginning to get stripped away from those thoughts because your mind is infected. We don't want to let that dark cloud win, okay? We don't want to let the dark cloud win. We don't want to let the stagnancy overcome us so much so that we give up on ourselves because you've invested too much time. You've invested way too much time, way too much energy and efforts into yourself, into those businesses, those ideas. You've invested too much for a little time delay to take away everything that you've already done. So I wanted this to be a reminder to get back to the basics. And that's exactly why I said it goes back to being in alignment with the mind, body, and spirit. If you're in alignment with the mind, body, and spirit, you have that ability to remove the time delay and bring back the focus on what it is that you're doing, what it is that's driving you, and actually get you back into a attitude of gratitude as well. We're just going to be honest. A lot of us are pushing to get to that next season because we want the almighty dollar. We want the flexibility and everything that comes with it. But it's deeper than that. You have to do what you're doing because of the emotional connection to it, the love of it, the joy that it gives you naturally. So we want to get back to having those types of thoughts about what it is that we're building in the moment so that it can get us to stay on track and not allow stagnancy to win. So that kind of brings me into my next question of what is driving you? Excuse me. What is driving you at this moment? Like I said, you've invested all this time, but you haven't moved. So now you have to really ask yourself, what is driving you at this stage of it? Because you're far past the beginning. At the beginning, you had all of these, hopes and dreams and all this like motivation, like you hit the ground running. But now that you've experienced this time delay, that motivation starts to cease and desist. But we don't want it to cease and desist. We want that motivation to stay just as amplified now as it was in the beginning. So how do we get back to that point? How do we get to a point where we have that motivation and that it's not leaving us? I really want you guys to start asking yourselves, what is the emotional connection? I feel like I've seen this in so many self-help books here recently. Like, what is the emotional piece that is keeping you connected to what it is that you're doing? I feel like I even read that in the 12-week year, which I'm currently reading right now. But I feel like I said, I've seen it in a lot of self-help books where they ask you, what is the emotional piece that's driving you? See, we know that when we start off, and again, I think maybe we're just a little, what I don't want to say we're cloudy or foggy brained, but we know what it is that we're doing at the forefront of it. But we also have, I guess, just this giddy feeling, like maybe a feeling of more ambition rather than having more precise thoughts and clarity, because you're excited. It's something new. It's adventurous. You have all of these optimistic thoughts about what it is that you're about to step into. But now that you've stepped into it and you're in the thick of it, what is going to keep you going? That's where we have to sit down and figure out what that emotional connection is to what it is that we're doing. Because if there's no emotional connection, then you are going to lose motivation just like that. And it will be so hard to get it back outside of, or excuse me, if you don't do it through that emotional connection piece. So with no emotional attached, the first sign of distress, you're more likely to pull away. And we don't want to pull away. We want to stay in the thick of it. We're just trying to get that motivation and that motion going back into our journey. So let's go ahead and talk about or dive into the mind a little bit. These are just things that you can begin to look at every single day that are going to give you that pushback, okay? Give you that ammunition that you need to get that motion going back into your journey. Sometimes it is just about sitting down and getting back on track, gaining more clarity so that you can keep the train moving. When we talk about the mind, during the time delay, during that stagnancy, focusing on your mind is bringing back the awareness within yourself. We got to exercise that muscle up there, or not muscle. Is it an organ? Oh my God. It's an organ. Y'all know, don't even come for me because I'm still a little under the weather. No, I'm not. But anyway, you guys know what I'm trying to say. How can you improve your mind? It's just simply through exercising it. In this season, the glow up season is about you changing the way you think, changing the way you present yourself, and all of that. So you must exercise your mind in order to do that. Dedicate some everyday reading time. Do some everyday dedicated reading time. Okay. Something so simple can give you so much motivation in your journey. It will almost help you stay within it. I told you guys just a second ago, I'm reading the 12-week year right now because I felt like in my own personal journey, I did not have enough structure in my daily planning. I didn't have enough structure to tell me, okay, I was filming content and posting content with no kind of strategy at all, nothing to follow, no guide to have me stay consistent, have me stay on track for the week at a time. So without structure, without that plan, I was kind of getting lost a lot, which is what threw me off in the first place. So start choosing just books that you can read that will help you, give you the motivation back that you need. Enter into a softer living era. One thing that I love about embracing my soft girl era is it has taught me to be more in a mind state of gratitude. There's something to give gratitude for every single day. We just don't feel like that because we're so busy and so focused on, like, our minds are literally in the future, attached to all of those little moments that we're waiting to happen, that we don't realize how much in the current day that we have to be grateful for. So decide to come into a softer living era, a soft girl era, like your soft feminine era, however you want to call it, like however it associates with you, title it that. But you get what I'm saying. Like, just come into that era where you're just really more in tune, more focused on gratitude, more focused on the smaller moments. That will pull your mind away from being so far in the future, waiting on all of these bigger moments to happen. And you'll notice through doing simple things like that, that you actually have covered more territory than what you really think you have. Did I say that right? Oh my gosh. Y'all, I don't know what's going on with me today, but y'all get the point. Just like daily meditation can do the same thing. It can help you stay more within the moment, stay more in tune with the day itself, and not in tune with your past self and your future self, instead of, just being in the moment. So daily meditation can definitely help that. And then, like I said, fine tuning your daily schedule, which I just talked about with the 12-week year. Fine tuning your daily schedule. You'll begin to understand whether or not you're spending time that is going to help your goals, or whether you're just squandering time. Like, there's a lot of time during the day that I started noticing that I actually had time to do the things that I wanted to do. Whereas before, I was just doing stuff and always feeling like I was out of time and that I didn't have enough time, but I wasn't utilizing my time wisely. And lastly, with the mind, we want to talk about those affirmations, baby. Daily affirmations. Sometimes when we get so just bogged down with work, we're like just focused so heavily on the things that we're doing, it begins to drain us. And then again, when you're in that stagnancy mindset and your thoughts are already beginning to be infected, you're not realizing that the negative self-talk is, settling in. So just making sure that you're speaking life into yourself. Exercising all of these steps within the mind is the first thing that you want to do in order to get that motion back into your glow up season, because it really brings you back to why you're doing it in the first place and what you can do on the daily that is actually going to help you realize that you're just where you're supposed to be. Everything is in motion. Everything is in play. When we think about the body, because I really started to realize that I was out of alignment because I was operating on 4 hours of sleep here, 2 hours of sleep there, 5 hours of sleep there, never a full night of sleep, never a full night of sleep. And then also, I was skipping meals. I was skipping meals so much because I was just so like heavily focused on I gotta get this done. Like I want to glow up. I want to have my big moment. I gotta work. I gotta work. I gotta work. It was funny because Country Wayne did an interview with Shannon Sharp here recently. I think it was like maybe a couple of days ago, but he basically said on there, if I can't get my proper sleep, if I can't properly fuel myself, if I can't do all of these things that are going to help me stay healthy, then that is not God providing that. And when I say that, I felt that so much in my spirit. Okay, I felt that because I'm just like, we associate working harder with getting to the goal, and that is actually not true. Also, something that I read in the 12-week year this past week, just a couple of days ago, it mentioned the same thing. Without taking appropriate breaks, fueling your body the way it needs to be, taking care of yourself physically, getting some kind of walking or exercising in, proper amount of sleep. If you're not getting all of that within your schedule, if you're not taking those daily breaks, you are not you're not on the fast track that way. You're actually harming yourself in the long run because you are physically wearing yourself out. And then you're trying to constantly figure out why you're always crashing and burning. This is not what we want. So get back to prioritizing being your best self. Start prioritizing getting that rest, okay? Because once you prioritize getting the proper amount of rest, I guarantee all of those thoughts that you used to have, like all those thoughts that would just fire off a million ideas per second, it'll come back. I guarantee it'll come back. Right now, you probably dead tired because you sitting there trying to outwork everybody else. It's not about outworking everybody else. You're not in competition with anybody. You are only in competition with yourself. And once you realize that you just have to slow it down a bit and take care of yourself, by slowing down and taking care of yourself, you're going to make further strides in what it is that you're doing. Fueling your body properly. Eating one meal a day is cool. It's, you're fasting, okay. But eating one meal that's a greasy burger and some greasy fries is not the way to go. And I'm not even a meat eater. I'm actually a vegetarian. So for me, eating a big old bowl of fried rice and some crab rangoon for lunch is not healthy for me. So I'm not fueling my body with the right amount of foods when I'm sitting there so heavily focused on, I gotta work. I'm not fueling myself the right way, which in turn makes me tired. It makes me lazy. It makes me feel drained. So we want to put the focus back on eating to live and not living to eat, okay? When you focus on eating to live, you will make sure that you prioritize daily time to make sure that you're eating the proper meals, or maybe once a week you do your meal prep. But nonetheless, you will put the priority back on getting the proper fuel into your body, which is going to give you the best energy. It'll take away things like night sweats and sugar cravings and all of that, and you'll get better rest because now you're putting the fuel into your body the way that it needs to be. So last thing is spiritually, and obviously this is going to be different for everybody because everybody's spiritual beliefs are different. But for me personally, it was right around the 1 year mark that I really began to notice that my work was trumping everything in my life. And one of the things that it trumped was my daily devotional time. I have a daily devotional time every single morning. I at least make sure that I set aside an hour. Sometimes it may go hour and a half, 2 hours, but I at least try to have a daily devotional time of 1 hour in the morning. Sometimes it's almost like we develop an unhealthy obsession to what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So if you're really heavy set and like I said, you're trying to outwork the rest of the world. You trying to, show, oh, I got, I'm working harder. Ain't nobody working hard as me and blah, blah, blah. You start to find that it's like an unhealthy obsession that you begin to gain because you're trying to have that moment, that big blow up. You're trying to, have everything, obtain everything. And I realized that once I was starting to have this unhealthy obsession, once I started realizing that I was waking up in the morning saying, oh, thank you, Lord God, and immediately checking my phone, checking emails, getting on Instagram, I was like, oh my gosh, my priorities are so out of line. And honestly, that's probably why my moment hasn't come, because my priorities and my life were so out of order. So I'm saying all that to say, when we are spiritually not in alignment, again, like I said, everybody is different, but for me, I prioritize the Lord God first and foremost. And I was beginning to lose my way. And I was forgetting why I was gifted with the talents and the things that I do, the talks that I wanted to have. I was forgetting all of that. I was forgetting why God told me to do it in the first place. So when you are talking about an ultimate glow up season, again, mind, body, and spirit have to be in total alignment. I want you guys to realize the importance of getting all three of these things back in alignment. If you snatch the focus away from trying to outwork the rest of the world and put it back onto yourself and putting it back into these three focused areas, you guys, you will begin to have so much growth that you would have never thought would happen as fast as it would. You will have so much growth that you'll realize that you conquered more territory by focusing on your mind, body, and spirit than what you did by trying to stay head down working 12, 14, 16, 20 hours a day. You feel like you stopped, but really and truly you didn't stop. Sometimes we have to realize that the stagnancy is there for us to purposely stop what we're doing, regain the clarity, regain the understanding of what it is that we're doing it and why we're doing it, and then the train can get back on track. So that is all I have for you guys today. Remember, there's nothing wrong with a stagnancy season. Even if you have stagnancy season right now, just remember, it's just nothing but a warning. It's a warning to tell you that you need to get some things in alignment before you continue on, because if you continue on at the rate that you're going, it might not be so happy, okay? It might not be the happy ending that you're expecting. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Until next time, love. Bye.